The Morningside Mustang men's tennis team is off to a phenomenal start this season, 5-0 on the year. The Stangs will be put to the test, though, when they hosted Ottawa. Now, both teams are receiving votes in the latest polls. Doubles action here. The duo of Mark Schrenkle and Gustav Solberg pick up a point right here and a win. But the Braves would win the other two doubles matches, meaning the Stangs need to win 4 singles matches. Schrenkle would come through as a winner in one of those singles matches, sending a forehand over that his opponent cannot return. Also getting a win, Mikhail Raja, who goes back and forth with his opponent right here. Except he's going to walk the line on this shot right there to pick up the point on his way to a victory. It would come down to 2 3-set matches. And check out this volley from Santi Manetti. He's got to go back and get this one. Then Manetti, he's got to survive a smash, which he does. That's returned. Then the freshman Coffin corners this one. He'd win. And that sets up Skander Ben Abdallah in the senior. In the final match that lasted well over 2.5 hours, it's an ace that puts it away and keeps Morningside perfect on the season.
And we use a quote this week from Peter Pan about belief. I know it sounds cheesy, but these last two guys, Santi and Skander, just kept believing and kept battling in some really tough third-set matches, almost 3-hour matches. And so the heart is there, and I'm really excited about where we're going as a season this year.
It was such a great feeling. I don't know, like it was a lot of emotions at the same time. I honestly don't know how to describe it, but it was really great, and I just look forward to like having more moments like that with this team especially.
Morningside advances to 6-0 on the season. They play Carleton at 3 p.m. tomorrow at the First Serve Tennis Center in South Sioux City.
Wow, amazing.